I'll start with a general question.
Yes.
What did you think about your experience at this university, and how did you like the lecture yesterday and the atmosphere?
I'm just having a tremendously good time here, and everybody's being so nice to me, and you know, I just feel tremendously as if this is a second home. So, thank you very much to everybody.
Thank you. And could you maybe briefly restate maybe your main message from the lecture yesterday, like the main point that you want people to take home or to understand?
I think the main message is that we should care about whether people have jobs, that in terms of economic policy around the globe, I think at the current moment that should be the first priority. That the second message, I think, is that people at the moment are, perhaps rightly so, concerned about the equity of the measures that need to be taken to keep financial markets working. But I think that they should understand, I think it's very important to understand that keeping financial markets flowing is necessary to change jobs. And furthermore, I think it's the most cost-effective way of preserving jobs. And jobs are very important. They're important especially for young people, where in some countries the unemployment rate is just extremely high. In other countries, the unemployment rates are only very high.
So we've talked a lot about economics yesterday and today, and I find it interesting that you have also previously publicly voiced some opinions about the US administration, or the previous administration.
Yes.
And we were just wondering what you think about the new administration and the policy changes they have introduced, especially regarding economic policy.
I think the new administration is doing as well as one can do in terms of economic policy. So they have very good people in place, and I think they're doing remarkably well. I think that as of a year ago, one would not have thought that we would be doing as well today as we are, on both in terms of what's happening to GDP and also in the revival of financial markets.
Do you want to ask something more about that?
Professor, ever since your Nobel Prize lecture about behavioral macroeconomics and macroeconomic behavior, there's an increasing presence of behavioral economics kinds of recommendations for policy issues. Not only your new book with Robert Schiller has been widely publicized, but we also have seen Richard Thaler in Kazakhstan, and even Kazakhstan being hired by the administration. How do you feel about the policy implications of behavioral economics being implemented?
Okay, so I think what I've been mainly talking about is the role of behavioral in terms of macroeconomics. I feel that to understand macroeconomics, that it's really quite necessary to be behavioral, to take into account both psychology and sociology. I think when you do that, you understand the need for macroeconomic interventions, which are very important. I think there are also all kinds of implications of behavioral economics throughout economics. Now, I think there's a lot of traditional economics which is actually just right. And so that we don't need to reconsider. What's interesting about behavioral economics is that it's on the frontier, and it sort of gives us new reasons for intervention, and actually new ways in which we can intervene. I think, for the most part, I think most economists who've been in behavioral have been emphasizing psychology. I think beyond psychology, there's also implications of sociology, and I think those implications are important, especially for organizations and how organizations work. It's important for schooling, it's important for such things as minority poverty, it's important for gender relations. It's important, so sociology also plays a major role.
Can I just answer that question? And do you think that this type of behavior economics will eventually become or should eventually become an extension of the neoclassical approach, or does it imply an entire shift of paradigm?
I think the way, I don't see that it shouldn't. I think it can be an appropriate extension of neoclassical economics. I think we should be, I think we should always be careful, however, that whatever approach we have to economics, that it should be something that's all-inclusive, that every area of economic endeavor should in fact be something that's being studied by economists, because those are areas where in fact we can have problems. So in the last 5, 10, 15 years, I think what we've seen is there has been too little attention paid to the exact institutional detail of financial markets. And I think that that's one of the reasons that we failed to predict the current crisis.